Okay, so now we're going to be focusing a little bit more again on ourselves. We are going to do a little game that I literally typically like people to play in the beginning, which is just with a paper ball. So I don't need you now, Henning, sorry. I'm going to, just so you first understand how your foot wants to be. This is where if you played soccer is a little bit better. Football, fuck, I don't know why I said soccer. But you want to keep your foot always a little bit more sideways and a bit curled in. Your goal is to be able to move the ball. Again, if I'm stiff, I'm not going to be able to move the ball as practically. So I want to be a bit curled in, and I want to move the ball with the outside of the foot or with the near side of the inside of the foot. So outside or inside. For this, already made a couple of balls for each one. I will be then, you can then just take it out. It's just a paper ball for some reasons. If the ball is too high, I'm going to foot sweep too high on the foot, on the leg. We want to foot sweep, as the name says, the foot. So that means if the ball was too high, I would be moving a little bit, again, too high for my goal. The ball is very weak and very small. So that means if I apply too much pressure, I'm not going to move it efficiently. So I need to be able to just sweep. If I'm touching the ground, I'm not also going to be able to be a little bit more mobile. So I need to have the foot almost sliding on the floor. And from here, I just want to move you, I want you to move by yourself, a little bit the ball around. Remember, inside or outside. And just move a little bit the ball, regardless of where it is. Try to not kick it, because that's what we don't want to do with foot sweeps. We just want to be able to move a little bit the ball to get that feeling of not being stiff. Stiff is the worst thing for the foot sweep for being elegant. Otherwise, you're just leg kicking, and then it can be that your partner slaps you in the face. So we want to be able to move the ball gently. This is where if you played football again and you were a dribbler, this is where it helps you, because you are a bit more relaxed. Try not to kick it, try to guide it. How long can you guide the ball? For with the inside and the outside. Now, the goal is more to protect the foot. You want to try to move the ball. Go to the side so the camera. Yeah. So you want to try to move the ball as little as you can, but still protect the foot, the ball. This will mean that you'll start immediately having what we call a foot fight. I'm here, I'm trying to protect only one foot, and I'm trying to guide it out. If he's protecting the foot, I have to regain it. Don't step the foot, don't step the ball, that's cheating, and don't just be kicking it away. You want to have like this fight. And that's what we're going to be trying to do now for 1:30. So grab your partner, protect the ball, not by touching it, but avoiding him getting closer to the ball with his foot. Let's go. Only use one foot. You can always change. Sorry. I will be showing a little bit now more technical based, but important is to understand more the concept behind the foot sweep. Since when I was always focused, I need to do this move, was a little bit difficult, because if I don't get exactly all that I need to achieve it, it's not going to succeed for the specific technique. So we just want to see it a little bit more conceptual. First, foot sweeps. It doesn't matter if it's here, straight from the outside, straight inside, cross outside, later on even fancy. It doesn't really matter. I just need to be able to sweep his foot. So it doesn't really matter where we are going, outside, inside, or cross. It's just open. It's more understanding what do I need to achieve the foot sweep. We are going to first start with one of the two ways we can try to achieve a foot sweep. And that's unweighting the foot, moving it away, and then bringing his weight towards where his foot was. So in this case, we have two types of foot sweeps. One where I unweight the foot, and then I bring his upper body, in this case his head, to where his foot was, to get his hands on the ground or butt on the floor. Then we have one that is more static, where I block the foot, and then I bring his weight over that blocked foot to get him to the ground. These are the two main concepts of when we are trying to achieve foot sweeps. The first one is going to be unweighting a foot. So we are just going to, actually, before even going to the technique, is separate the two of them. So we're going to do again a small little game where we're going to separate the two skills we need to achieve the first type of foot sweep, which is unweighting the foot and being able to be precise at the foot. So this is very important when we are playing this game. If I'm trying to stop what he's trying to achieve and he's trying to stop what I'm trying to achieve, we are losing the battle here. So the first two things we need to be able to do is unweight the foot. That's by moving the upper body. If I push this hand down, all his weight is here. That means this foot is light to move, regardless where. I don't have to grab specifically the wrist. I can grab the elbow and push it down. I can get an underhook and push it down. I can use a collar tie and bring his weight to the side. I can bring the weight to the side and down. My goal in this case right now is how long can I make his foot light and how many variations can I do this? Again, if I'm moving him, one foot is becoming light because when we move, one foot is light. So I can move him backwards, I can move him forwards, I can move him at an angle, I can move his upper body. And recognizing what foot is light. If I'm bringing it here and I'm trying to foot sweep this foot, it's not going to work. That's the foot that is light. So my goal is unweighting the foot, recognizing which one is unweighted, and how long can I keep it unweighted. The goal of the other person is being precise. I like to compare this to the bro slap. I hope we can manage it. Fuck. It's the same thing you want to do with the foot. So it's loud, but it's not hurting because we are relaxed, which I wasn't with my wrists because of my biceps are huge. So from here, I want to be able to slap his foot as many times as I can. So as he's trying to move me, I'm not stopping by resisting. I'm just trying to see how many times can I be precise with my foot sweeps. How many times can I touch his foot from the outside, inside? Now it literally doesn't matter if I am going cross, if I am going straight, if I'm going on the inside or the outside. My main goal is, am I slapping his foot and not kicking? And am I being precise? Am I slapping the foot or am I slapping the leg? So we want to just see how many times can I touch his foot? And his goal is how many times can he unweight the foot and for how long? If I'm stopping him, so for example, he wants to touch my feet and I'm the whole time like this, I'm not moving him. So I only focus on moving him. He only focus on slapping my foot. What you have to try and gain is not looking down, but being able to look at his shoulders and through your periphery, know where his feet are. Yeah? Let's go. Remember, don't put your ass out. Be straight. Be precise. If you are slapping him 20 times in a row and they all look awful, then just slap him 2 times in a row. They want to try to be precise. One is slapping, one is unweighting. There is 2 goals. Don't bend your butt too much outwards. I will explain this afterwards. This game that I just showed, I delved deep into the foot sweeps for like the last, I would say, 1 year. In the beginning, I had a lot of difficulty to train them. First, I might be able to achieve 1 foot sweep, but then that was it for the round. So that was 1 round. Maybe you do 4, maybe you do 5 in a class, and it was 1 foot sweep in 1 round. Then maybe the next partner wouldn't even stand. So that means for me to work the foot sweeps was very inefficient. So in the beginning, I would just literally be relaxed and I would just be touching his feet. I wouldn't even foot sweep him. First, he is now not scared, so he's not going to pull guard because he doesn't want to be embarrassed. But I'm still working my foot sweep because if I know that I can touch his foot whenever I want to, I know that when I set it up, I'm able to later on catch the foot sweep. So this is a game I used by myself to be able to get my foot sweeps to a better level without having to have a person telling him, stand up. And then he just wants to defend the foot sweep because he's scared. And then it makes everything more difficult. So I use this game a lot just when I go to an open mat or when I'm sparring with somebody, just to be able to get that reps. Now, main thing, if especially me trying to do the foot sweeps, if I'm with my butt out, what is the problem? I can barely touch his foot. It's a very uncomfortable position where I have no power. I have to be able to be straight. Now I'm closer to his foot. I'm a bit more strong. My body position offers me a little bit more strength than if I have my ass out. So I need to be as straight as possible. Typically, I like to explain this. A judo guy is arrogant, so you always want to have your chest out. A judo guy always thinks he's perfect. He does everything correct. He's not scared of anything. Here, we are showing immediately that we respect our partner. We are afraid of what he's going to be doing. We don't give a shit. We are here up. So I need to be straight. So has my partner for now. Later on, you will learn ways of making him get straight. Now, which foot is easier to get foot sweeps? That's always in accordance to his stance. I always, when I want to work my foot sweeps, I want to match his stance. Because if I'm here, I or go cross, which is a longer distance, or I go straight, but my foot is kind of further away. So we always try to blade our stance so that my foot is closer to his. I can do foot sweeps with cross, but it gets me more power than going from the inside, so here straight. But if I go cross, I have more power, but I have to be closer to him. So typically, in the beginning, you always want to work with the foot closest to him. You can go outside or inside. So we're going to just work two variations of this foot sweep so we can just use it in a practical way. From here, unweighting. Can you switch stances for now? Yeah. Unweighting. I need to move his foot. Right now, his weight is here and here. So I'm not going to be able to move it. So I have to unweight it. For this, we're going to use a collar tie, which is the most simple grip to understand how to move his weight. Because when we move his head, his body weight goes. The head is attached to the whole body, so whenever we move the head, we know that his weight is going there. So first, unweighting the foot. I'm going to just bring his head to the opposite side. Now I know that his foot starts becoming light. I can even see his heel is off the ground. From here, my other hand can help. The wrist is a good grip, but it's a little bit far away from his head. So I need to be able to really push down to move his weight. So we can use a bicep tie. But for this, the person has to grab from the outside. He will not grab for now a collar tie. If he grabs anything, the grips are always from the outside. So if he does, he just grabs my tricep. Yeah. These are the grips that the person can use. Now, I'm going to unweight the foot, and now we're going to see two options. When we are doing a sweep, even in the ground, the goal with the sweep is always one of two. Put the hands on the ground or put the butt on the floor. So we're going to see this variation with the foot sweeps. I'm going to unweight the foot and now disrupt his base. Because if his base stays the same, I cannot bring his butt to the floor. So I'm going to unweight it. I'm going to now go straight from the inside and I'm going to disrupt his base. I'm going to bring it out. Now he's for a second without a proper base. From here, I just bring the head to where the foot was. So I unweight it, lift, and now bring his head to the ground. First type of sweep, putting his hands on the floor. Just so you understand, when you're on the guard and you want to create a sweep, you always have hands to the ground or you always have butt to the floor. The same thing is with the foot sweeps. Backwards or forwards. I just did forwards. Now I'm going to do backwards. I'm going to unweight the foot. Same thing. I'm going to disrupt the base. Now I push it from the outside across. And from here, the most important thing, where people make mistakes. I need to bring his head to where his foot was. If I just bring his head in a circle, he's going to keep jumping with me. If I unweight, nothing is happening. I need to bring his head to where his foot was. Then I can bring him to the ground. So we're just going to work what we did before in the game, but more in a technical way. Unweight, open, head. Unweight, disrupt the base, bring the head to the ground. Let's try this. Okay, let's just fix something to make sure we are working this together properly. Do not try right now to go so quick. The person is resisting nothing. His only goal is to do enough base that he can feel that the person is pushing him down. So we don't want to right now be quick. I want to see how long can I move his foot. What am I actually doing? He's still balanced. I'm now slowly trying to see what is my goal. Again, one is pushing his head down to the ground where his foot was. The other one is to bring his head to the floor in front of me. If he's hanging on me, so in this case, he puts his arm on me, I have to work on unwinding the grips. That's all things that is stopping me to understand the move now a little bit more technically. So if the person is hanging, how do you feel this? You feel you are hanging on the partner. That means you have to relax a bit your grips. This is why from the outside, because you just can slip down to make it easier for me. Right now, it's just, can I understand what we are trying to do and can I replicate it without any resistance? So I need to try and do it as slowly as possible. As slowly as possible. Understand what am I doing. Let's go. I'm gonna do again an explanation since everybody tried it. Also, before I explain it again, we just have somebody taking some photos. So if you don't like to be photographed or you lied to your work or something like that, just let me know or let her know and we will delete the photos. But if you are okay, I will then send it to you if you want the photos, just to let you know. So first, there has to be a zigzag. There has to be unweighting. You have to understand, okay, if my head is here, this leg is light. And after I unweight it and I move the foot, zigzag. So if I moved it to the right, now I have to move it back to the left. When I open it up, I'm here. I have to unweight the leg first. Now it's not going to be a proper zigzag, but I'm here. It's still going to be kind of a zigzag. Since I unweight it, I move the foot and then I bring the head back to where it was initially. So if I moved it to the right, now I can move this foot. Now I move the head to the left. It's just one goes backwards, one goes forwards. The problem with the snapping in front, this is just a snap down. I can work a snap down where I work with his, he's pushing against me. Now I have his resistance and I can snap him down to the ground. This is what we are doing. But instead of having his push-pull, we are just disrupting the base and then we are snapping him down. Big problem here that I see. Without the foot sweep, I'm snapping him down and I'm staying where I am. I'm snapping him against me. I have to move a bit away. I'm going to snap him to where I was. So you are trying to bring him down to the ground, but you're staying where you are. So from here, he's falling on top of me. So I move and I move a bit back to snap him down to the floor. Remember, it's a zigzag. I unweight and then I bring the head back to the opposite direction. Now, sometimes we move it to the opposite direction and back. Sometimes we move it to the opposite direction, but in front, depending where we move the foot. If I move the foot here, it goes in front. If I move the foot here, it goes to the back. Let's try this again, and then we see a little bit of different variations. If the foot goes cross, you bring him to his butt. If the foot goes out, you bring him to his hands. You need to understand, where can I put his weight? If his foot is going across, you bring him to his butt. If you are bringing the foot away, you are bringing the hands to the ground. We're just going to see, this is very important to understand, different ways of unweighting the foot. The most complicated thing is understanding, how do I unweight the foot and what does it mean? There are so many ways to unweight. We just saw how to unweight by moving the head. That means his weight is shifted to one side. But we have to understand another principle, and that's when we walk. I can't walk without unweighting a foot. That means if I can make him walk, I can make his foot light. And that's my timing for the foot sweep. So I'm going to just show one or two ways where I want you to try and focus on. And then the other ones, I just want you to be a little bit more creative. So my favorite one, when I'm starting in the beginning, is I match his foot. Now, how do I know he's gonna unweight his foot? If somebody just walks in towards you, you immediately going to be going backwards. You're like, what the fuck does this guy want? So that means I know when I walk into Henning, in the first second, he's going to bring his heel off the ground and put his weight backwards. If his weight is backwards, his weight is on the back leg. He's not typically standing here. He's always typically standing in a bladed stance. So if I just walk in, he's gonna be afraid and he's gonna move a little bit back. That means his foot is light. If his foot is light, that's the off-balancing I need to get the foot sweep. Another one, when we are moving with him, if I move him backwards, I can time it. I know, if I move him forwards, I can time it. It takes more timing because when he moves, he can move his feet quite quickly, but I can still match it. I just need to unweight the foot. So the one I want you to try now, again, this has to be a little bit more, the person has to commit a little bit more with it, because if he knows I'm walking in, he doesn't have to move. If he doesn't move, I can't get the foot sweep. But in sparring, you don't know. You're afraid. If a guy just jumps in towards you, you are kind of a little bit scared. So you just go, and he doesn't move backwards. He just has that initial, hey. From here, you just get your grips, and you try the foot sweep. Again, he has to commit literally to just do this. To make it even more easy, lift your heel off the ground. If you know that the heel is off the ground, then the foot is light. Second one that is very simple. Whenever we take the back, from here, he has to re-engage with me, recenter, to stop me taking the back. This is a difficult one to train in the beginning because of how he's moving. Realistically, what's happening is I'm going to the back and he keeps moving with me. And as he's turning, that foot is light. And that's where I can get my foot sweep. So what's going to happen here? What's actually happening? When he do an arm jack, just to an angle, what's happening is for me to recenter, I can't have my weight on my right foot and turn. Don't move. Because otherwise I'm twisting my own leg, I'm going to break my leg. I have to do what's called a pivot. I have to lift my heel off the ground, and now I can turn my whole body. Now, just foot sweep my foot here. He can get the foot sweep. So, again, we need to work a little bit with the partner. If I'm here, foot sweep is not going to work. So you always have to just lift the heel off the ground. How can I take the back? An arm drag, a Russian tie. As soon as he starts turning, if he doesn't lift the heel off the ground or turn on this heel, I don't give a fuck how he turns. He just has to put his weight here or here. And then we just switch to any grip on the head. Because if I try to foot sweep him from here, it's going to be hard to bring his head to the ground there, because my grip is not so good. So typically when we are behind him, the best grip is just grabbing the traps. Now, go from the outside, bring his head to the ground. So you can try. There's two variations. One is moving his feet. One is just scaring him. How do I scare him? I match, and I just go, whoa. From here, I know I can foot sweep him. Or I just try to expose the back. Any way that you can expose the back. Again, if you like, you can also do duck unders as he faces you, boom, you start working your foot sweep. Doesn't matter. If he turns to face you, the foot has to be light, because he's never going to turn realistically like this, because he's going to break the leg. But if I turn like this and he tries to foot sweep me, wait, I'm here, try to foot sweep this foot, it's too much weight, but I'm going to break my own leg, or it's just dumb. So I need to pivot, and now it's easy to move my foot away and then bring the head to the ground. So try these two concepts or any creative ways that you find, and then we move on from here. Let's go. Let's now see another variation. You don't have to specifically do this variation. You can just be switching around what you feel that you want to work on. Again, sometimes you don't have to take the back before the other variation. One I've been enjoying a lot is playing the Russian tie and just moving him here. Because as I pull him, I know that he's walking. And while he's walking, he doesn't even have to turn. While he's walking, I know that his feet are becoming light. So as I'm pulling, I'm trying to time and I'm trying to foot sweep him. Again, it's all about the concept of unweighting a foot. Now we're going to see a little bit more of a variation of a foot sweep that is a little bit different than how we did it now, since it's going to be engaging more in the cross. We are still going to be putting him to his butt, but we are going to pull the foot towards us. This one is a little bit more difficult to catch, especially in Nogi. If you want to see this being hit perfectly, you can watch Fabrício Andrew. He's like a 66 kilo guy, Brazilian, and he does this like magic in its competition. He typically grabs the collar, grabs the sleeve, and he starts moving the person to get this foot closer to me. In Nogi, you can still do it. I try to hit it a lot by pulling. It's all about timing. I'm pulling that foot towards me. Again, the foot is becoming light. And as I pull it towards me, as he moves, I'm going to catch the foot from the inside. Now, I'm going to disrupt his base forwards. It means now the foot was there. That's where I bring his head. And I just push the head down to the ground. And if I'm not mistaken, in Japanese, in judo, is kouchi gari, I think. I don't want to fuck it up, but I think it's that one. So I need to move his forward foot towards me. So I'm not just going backwards, because if I'm going backwards, I'm moving him, but I'm moving myself. I'm moving at an angle. Here, I might have to do it a couple of times. How do the judo guys work? That's what if you ever rolled with a judo guy, it's never like this. They always go, pulling the foot as much as they can towards you. Again, now it's not the best way. If you do too much strength, your brain doesn't work anymore. So you just want to pull him, and the person commits a bit more with the weight. What's happening here? When he steps, the foot always goes top, then the heel. So for that moment, he has no base. And he's going to hook my foot and bring it forwards. Push my head down, and he gets the foot sweep. So wrist, from here, I'm moving again at a circle, pulling the foot towards me. I'm pulling it now with this hand, because this is connected to his left side. I'm pulling him. I'm trying to see the timing. Then when I see the timing, I'm just going to catch with a cross and just pull the foot a bit towards me. As I pull the foot towards me, I just push his head to the ground. Again, sometimes, not always, I try to be nice. I miss pushing him here, and I just slap him on the face to push him on the ground. Again, can be a dick move. Then he's going to knee me, and then I have to cry, coach, you kneed me in the face. What did you do? I slapped him in the face. Well, you get what you get. So you pull, you are timing that foot. Again, for now, since I'm not pulling hard, because I'm trying to focus on what's happening, the person moving, don't just go here, but really like be an actor. Oh. So I have time to remember what's happening. Before we went straight, outside and inside. Now we are going straight from the inside. Cross from the inside. Before, straight inside, straight outside. Now we're going to go cross inside. So I move, pull, push him down to the ground. So work this one, work the other ones we've did. Be creative in your solutions. Let's go. Let's maybe do it in a more static variation, because again, this is why sometimes in judo is a little bit more difficult, because they try to work everything already in a dynamic situation. Since right now I have to move him, think what is the foot, where do I have to bring him? So let's just make it static. We gonna have the same stance, left leg in front. He is basically going to, as always, just bring his heel off the ground. Now I grab the head. I pull the foot not away from him, I pull the foot towards me. Now I bring the head to the ground behind him. If he's gonna fall with his butt to the floor, it can never be pull the head towards me. Because if I pull the head towards me, he's not gonna fall on his butt. His butt is behind him. So he picks the foot up, just his heel off, I catch it, and I pull it towards me. Now I just push his head to the ground. So what are the grips? So we make it that we do it correctly. On the side of the wrist, I'm gonna catch his foot with a cross grip. On the other side, I have a collar tie. He lifts, static position. I catch, I pull. As I pull, his foot is off the ground. He has no base there. Now I just bring his head to the ground, so his butt goes to the floor. Try it a bit more static, and then you can try maybe a little bit in a dynamic position. Let's go. I'm gonna just explain one thing, how we can make the foot sweeps work a little bit better. But this is just to see if you see that the person is giving you the false reaction. You always just gonna give him a checkup to remember that he has to keep his posture up. So Now I just want you to repeat whatever you prefer that you've learned until now, or ask any questions while you're trying it out. So if it's from the outside, inside, cross, however it is, just keep repeating everything you remembered or that you enjoyed, or even adding your own grips. Understand that this one is the most difficult one from all the ones we tried today, because we have to move them. So that means timing is very short. Plus, it's a cross grip. I'm kind of pulling him in while going in, and some of you are pulling, you are staying a little bit far away. It's definitely, from all of them, the most complicated. It requires already a little bit more of experience. But for me, it's more important that you understand I have to unweight the foot and then move the foot than actually remembering any of the moves that you learned today. Because if you just remember in your head, okay, what I learned today was I have to unweight the foot so I can move it, and then push his head to the ground, forwards or backwards. That's all you need. That's all I needed to work my foot sweeps. And then I just started playing, and I started developing my own foot sweeps. Again, I did judo when I was a kid for 2 years, and I did maybe 4 wrestling classes. So I have no stand-up experience of learning stand-up. This is all just understanding the concepts and then working it with partners. So if you just understand what you're trying to achieve, the techniques will come by themselves. If you learn how to move a person, and you learn this, if you are learning how to move him with an underhook, to go to an uchimata, whatever the fuck it is, you know how to move him. So if you know how to move him, you know how to unweight the foot. And if you know how to kick, you know how to do a foot sweep. A foot sweep is always anything like this. So it doesn't really matter which technique you are using, you just have to understand that you have to move the foot. So try all of them that you remember or that you want to try out. Again, ask any question, and always the check. Because the biggest problem is he starts having a wrestling stance. When he has a wrestling stance, it's quite difficult to get foot sweeps. It's just difficult. I'm too far away. It's not going to work. So what is the check? Now he's fed up, starts hurting you, or I'm going to snap you down. So what do you start if you get a wrestler and he's getting here too much? You just start the whole time snapping you. He's going to be upset with the snaps, and he's going to start posturing up because it's making him tired. So now if you are working the foot sweep and you realize that the person is just standing a little bit too much, you just give him a small, hey, remember? Sorry. Remember? But this is a snap. It was a bro slap. It didn't really hurt. It just made noise. But that's what you want to be doing. You want to be snapping him, snapping him, snapping him. Now he's going to start posturing up, and then you can start working the foot sweeps. So just repeat everything we learned today. And if sometimes the person is acting too much like a wrestler, just give him a small little snap. Not a slap, a snap. That was a snap. If he would have get angry, he would just, because he doesn't understand stand-up. It was hurt like a slap, but it was definitely a snap. Okay, let's go. This is now even a little bit more setting up. This is all try to seeing the principles. If sometimes what do? I start testing him. I start, for example, just going cross inside. Now he's kind of like, he's gonna really kick me hard. No, stay with your right. He's gonna kick me hard on the inside. That's what Henning is thinking. So how can he make his foot stronger? Here, my foot right now has weight left and right, the same thing. But if I know something is gonna be kicking me from the inside, I'm gonna turn a bit more so I have more resistance. So he will start like making his foot very heavy on the inside. So I can be faking him. I'm like, then I go from the outside. Because if he starts bracing himself on one side, now I can move it from the inside. I start faking. For example, from the outside, I'm going, pam. Now he starts already turning his foot, so I can't really move it. Then I go from the inside and I move him in. It's the same concept. That's why I don't want you to focus too much. What is the technique? Is just how the fuck can I unweight his foot? Again, if I can unweight his foot by grabbing his ear and moving it, that's a setup for a foot sweep. If I can look in his eyes, his blue eyes, nice eyes, and he gets scared and he moves, that's a setup for a foot sweep. Anything that unweights the foot is a setup for a foot sweep. You just have to then later on be creative. What makes a foot light? Movement. So how can I move him? Can I move him by going in? Can I move him by physically moving him? Can I move him by pushing? Can I move him by pulling? Anything that moves him is a setup for a foot sweep. So you can try a little bit. Again, he has to resist. If he doesn't resist, it will be difficult. And then you can switch. Just to play a little bit more around. And then we go for some positional sparring.